Hello and welcome to Brands Hatch and to the Fast Girl Consul Challenge Race, to be held over 10 laps of this twisting Brands Hatch circuit. And today we have many personalities present to watch 17 of the fastest drivers of the weaker sex, I did say weaker sex, do battle, all in bog standard Ford Consul 3000 GTs. Fastest lap in practice earns Jenny Birrell pole position, with Gillian Fortescue Thomas sharing the front row. And the flag is down and they're away, and into the lead goes Gillian Fortescue Thomas, followed by Jenny Birrell, with Gabriel Koenig a close third. Into Paddock Bend, and Rosemary Smith trying to get round on the outside. Round Paddock and up to Druitt. It's the blue car of Gillian Fortescue Thomas. Then Jenny Birrell, Gabriel Koenig, Rosemary Smith under pressure, and watch for Jenny Dell working hard from the back of the grid. Round Druitt and downhill to Bottom Bend, and it's still Gillian, Jenny Birrell, Gabriel Koenig, Rosemary Smith, and if they get any nearer, I'll scream. Round South Bank and lining up for clearways, and it's still the blue car, number 6 in the lead, followed by number 1, then 8, then 14, and the hand that rocks the cradle is playing it rough today. And as they come down the straight to complete the first of 10 laps, it's Gillian Fortescue Thomas in the lead, then Jenny Birrell, Gabriel Koenig, followed by Rosemary Smith, then Mickey Vanderbilt, and in 6th place, it's Susan Tucker Peake, then Maggie Blankston. Then just behind is Juliet Scott Gunn, and I think I'll shoot myself if there are any more double-barreled names. But Maggie Blankston gets in the way, and it's a case of you take the high road, and I'll take the low road. Round Druitt's for the second time, and then Jill Fortescue Thomas well in the lead, then Jenny Birrell, then all the rest into Bottom Bend, heading for South Bank. And these cars are being driven hard enough to put them right out of guarantee. And as they complete the second lap, it's Jill Fortescue Thomas in the lead, then Jenny Birrell, Gabriel Koenig, and all the ladies of the chorus in full song. These cars are perfectly standard models, taken from dealers' showrooms, and are carefully run in, or they will be by the end of the race. Jill Fortescue Thomas has already run one in during practice. She ran it into the bank at Druitt. No, dear, they went that way. Mickey Vanderbilt coming up alongside Rosemary Smith to challenge for 3rd place. She does it, and she shut the door on Rosemary, and she looks such a nice girl too. Round Paddock Bend, it's Susan Tucker Peake leading Maggie Blankston, and Yvette Fontaine putting the pressure on after a slow start. Then Gabriel Koenig still in 3rd place. She's falling back a little. And Jenny Dell, now back on the island, takes up the chase. There must be other ways of getting a mink coat. And Yvette Fontaine, the lass from Belgium, heads a gaggle as she sets off after the leaders, and she's now in 5th place, from 9th on the first lap. And over at Druitt's is Jill Robinson. She's just ahead of Jenny Dell. And Jenny's trying to pass her on the inside, but Jill's held her off. She's staying ahead. Keep your trotter down, dear. It's not your car. Coming out of South Bank, Yvette has Maggie Blankston on her tail. And as they enter clearways, into Paddock Bend, goes the leader, Jill Fortescue Thomas, with Jenny Birrell now really having a go. And that's no name to call a lady. And there's Susan Tucker Peake, heading Yvette Fontaine and Maggie Blankston as they scream around Bottom Bend. And Jill Fortescue Thomas shows them all how to do it. And the smell of burning rubber blends well with Chanel number 5. And at South Bank, Yvette Fontaine now leads Susan Tucker Peake, Maggie Blankston making up the threesome. And these three are having a race of their own, with Yvette Fontaine hanging out her tail a little more than the others. Maggie Blankston, she's waiting an opportunity to pass. And still, Jill Fortescue Thomas leads the race, with Jenny Birrell a close second. It's Gabriel Koenig in 3rd place, then Mickey Vanderbilt, Rosemary Smith and Yvette Fontaine. And that's Mickey Vanderbilt at Bottom Bend with Rosemary Smith, and both are chasing Gabriel Koenig. Susan Tucker Peake Maggie Blankster, Jenny Dell. Some new boys are finding out how it's done. 1 lap to go. It's still Jill Fortescue Thomas. And this could be a win for Ford. And there's Gabriel Koenig trying very hard. Oh, and she's lost it. Never mind, dear. With such charm, who needs mink? And over the line, to receive the checkered flag, goes Jill Fortescue Thomas to a popular and well-deserved win.
I'd like to congratulate you on your win. I thought the driving was superb. I think the times were right about the times that we were doing early on this year in a similar sort of car.
Sunday, April the 4th, and 0 hour approaches for what promises to be another wet BOAC 1000 at Brands Hatch. Round 3 in the Manufacturers' Championship Series for Group 5 sports cars and Group 6 prototypes, organised by the BRSCC. We asked Vic Elford how he regarded the race.
All the big cars seem to be having problems at the moment with handling. For the first time, it looks like the 3-litre cars are going to clean up. Certainly they have done so far in practice. So much for the wisdom of the FIA, who decided that as from next year the limit would be cut to 3 litres to make the cars go slower. And they're already going quicker with 3 litres before they're even, before they've even got to be down to that size. As far as everything else goes for the meeting, it's always one of the nicest meetings at Brands Hatch, or at least it would be if the weather were a bit better. The organisation is always superb. There's never any problem about getting in the gate the first morning of practice. The flag marshalling, of course, is probably the best in the world. The general atmosphere of the meeting just couldn't be better.
The battle is joined with the 3-litre Group 6 cars, notably the Ferrari 312 and the Alfa T33-3. And when the flag falls, into the lead goes Jackie Ickx in the Ferrari 312 from pole position. And then Elford in the Martini Porsche, unhappy on the wet track with intermediate tyres and having a big moment at South Bank. Rodriguez passes Stommelen and sets off after Ickx in the lead, with the rest of the field stringing out. The rain persists, and Rodriguez, at his best in these conditions, delights the large crowd with a superb display. We were not to know at Brands Hatch that we were watching this quiet little Mexican driver for the last time. With many cars not equipped with rain tyres, drivers were having difficulty with some of the tight bends at Brands Hatch. The big Group 5 cars were proving to be a handful on this twisting circuit, and Rodriguez, in the Gulf Porsche, works hard to stay with Ickx in the prototype Ferrari. Porsche into the lead, followed by the two Alphas. The Ferrari 312 is rebuilt in the pits, and Ickx rejoins the race 8 laps down and catches up with Rodriguez on the road. And together, these two work their way through the back markers. Dardamic in the Alpha passes teammate Starmelin to take third place. The lights come on to penetrate the race, and the first pit stop is only moments away. Rodriguez brings in the leading Gulf Porsche 917 to refuel. And the Gulf king-size refueler goes into action. The fuel goes in record time, and Rodriguez takes off. But the pipe remains attached, and pit manager David York has a tense moment. All is well, and Pedro rejoins in second place behind Sirfa. Now, Pescarolo comes in to refuel the Alpha. This pit favors the NASCAR churn, and the fuel goes in without a hitch. While co-driver Dardamic has a final word with Pescarolo. Now it's Ferrari's turn, and Ickx brings in the 312. Regazzoni takes over. The fuel goes in. And he's away, now in 8th place, in spite of earlier troubles. This race is very demanding to the pit crew, who are glad of a few moments' respite between stops. Jackie Oliver anxiously awaits his turn with the Gulf Porsche from Rodriguez, while team leader John Wyer records that he is overdue. The fuel blockage trouble which has dogged this car, finally retiring it at Dingledale. The Muller Ferrari 512 and the team Uzdau Porsche 908 refueled. Those unsung heroes, the flag marshals performing a magnificent job in appalling weather, are cheered as the rain eases a little and the track dries out. The Martini Porsche 917, driven by Marco and Van Lellen, is delayed at the pits with brake trouble. Now, the Gulf pit prepares to bring in the leading Porsche 917 to refuel and change tires. The team goes into action with their usual efficiency. But a tight wheel nut delays the car. How's this from a squirt off the pits? Now, Alpha leads the race. Siffert's troubles are not over, for he is further delayed by losing the spare wheel at paddock. And Alphas then make it 1-2, with the Ferrari 312 now up in third place. With the end in sight, the leading Alpha, now being driven by Hazemans, blows up in a big way at Druids. Alpha number 54, now driven by Pescarolo, leads the race with the Ferrari in second place. The fastest car in the race, but unable to catch the leader. And Clem Greville-Smith flags the winning Alpha to score a historic victory for the team from Milan.
40 laps of Mallory Park. And the drivers in contention, Dave Walker, to go on to drive Formula One for Lotus. Bev Bond shortly to retire, but at the wheel of a car that was to make history coming into Formula 3 at perhaps the most competitive time in the era. The other man to be making an impression here, the late Roger Williamson. And the battle settling down to very much one between Ensign, the new mark in the hands of Bev Bond, the gold-leaf Team Lotus Formula 3 car, and of course Williamson and Sutcliffe. Mallory Park, never the easiest of circuits to fight out a close battle on. And Walker and Bond soon locked in combat. The twists and turns of the Leicestershire circuit, certainly something that was a challenge to drivers of the day. And Maurice Nunn, who had changed over from driver to constructor in short order, very much the man of the moment as the Puma of Bob Evans pulls off. Evans too was to go on to Formula One honours with Team Lotus. Out front, however, is the Australian Walker, pursued by Bond. In and out of Mallory's teasing S's, nose and tail, and a scant lead for these two over the opposition. But these are the men who count at Mallory Park over 40 laps. Up now towards the Shaw's hairpin, with just yards between them. As always, the final dash down through the Devil's Elbow is a tease for any driver. Too close, and they spit out. The man with the most problems is Walker. So it's a limp over the line for Bev Bond and the Ensign to take victory. The unlucky Australian disengages himself from the car, with Ensign taking a race in the latter part of the season that was to take them and encourage them into Formula 3 success in the future. Part of the course, John Ellison. Good Friday 1971 at Oulton Park, the Rothmans Formula One International Trophy. Noticing here with the 72 entering its second full season and the Pratt & Whitney engine turbine car. John Surtees with the TS9 Surtees and the unloved M14A McLaren. That's Rainer Wiesel, and that's Pedro Rodriguez talking to Ellison before the start. He and Harold Ganley are to drive BRM. Peter Gethin at the wheel of the McLaren, the sole representative there at Oulton on this day. A young Jackie Stewart to drive the Derek Gardner-designed Tyrrell that had made its debut at Oulton the previous year. Checking the tyres prior to the start, and this is the Surtees. Big John still making his way as a constructor. With the exception of BRM, it's the DFV 3-litre Ford unit that powers virtually everything in the field. Out goes Surtees onto a warming-up lap. Ken Tyrrell watches the fuel pumped into the car by a new mechanic, Jackie Stewart. In those days, drivers still did things for themselves, and checking the tyre temperatures. Derek Gardner on the right of your picture, the designer of the Tyrrell. Out onto the track, the final warming-up laps prior to the start. And this is the Lotus turbine, Rainer Wiesel, the Swedish driver who joined the team at the end of 1970 with Fittipaldi. Pedro Rodriguez, perhaps one of the most underrated drivers of all time. Peter Gethin at the wheel of the 14A McLaren. Marshals prior to the start, note the hairstyles. And a comparatively small field. Up from the dummy grid, onto the start line, and of course this prior to light starts, the flag drops, away they go. A tremendous start by Surtees, who comes up and snatches second place, slotting in behind Rodriguez as they go into Old Hall. Rodriguez in the lead, Surtees in second place, the McLaren in third place, and Jackie Stewart in fourth. Out onto the long circuit, and then diving down through Knickerbrook, sliding a little bit, still Rodriguez in the BRM, with quite a lead now on the new second-place man, Peter Gethin. The Surtees has fallen back behind Stewart. And the BRM going beautifully as Colin Chapman watches from the pits. All the road used by Rodriguez, and a firm tussle going on for second and third places between Gethin and Stewart. Surtees dropping back with a problem. And still the BRM dominating the situation. Jackie Stewart with the Tyrrell. Watching from the pits, Derek Gardner and Ken Tyrrell, an eye on the watches. No car-to-car radio as Surtees comes in to retire, having blown the engine. A little lappery for the leading BRM and the gap closing between the two, but not significantly. 7 seconds. Spectators in the pits, watching the action out on the circuit. Closing all the time is Jackie Stewart, but the car not as happy on left-hand corners as it is on right-hand corners. Again, on their way towards Druids Corner. And still the BRM very much in charge. Rodriguez to go on to win a Grand Prix before losing his life later in the year. Sliding again through Knickerbrook, a very quick corner in those days. The checkered flag, and Rodriguez and BRM win. Congratulations to the winning driver. Look out for team manager Tim Parnell about to appear on the left of the picture as the laurels go round the neck of the Mexican. There's Parnell congratulating his driver. Rodriguez's only Formula One win on British soil.